ask Mr. Terry Smith to go ahead and do the same case.
Father, we just thank for this day, Lord. We just pray for guidance as we address everything within our industry, Lord. Just pray for fairness, and we're always objective. And blesses us throughout this meeting and as we leave this meeting. All these things we ask in your precious name, amen.
Amen.
Now, if y'all follow me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Mr. Chairman, Michael Joyner.
Present.
Present. Mr. Vice Chairman, Jonathan Causey. Absent. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, Ricky Fowler.
Present.
Present. Mr. Carl Bourgeois.
Present.
Present. Mr. Johnny Marquet.
Present.
Present. Mr. Vincent Giglio.
Present.
Present. Mr. Kevin Brown.
Present.
Present. Mr. Doyle Sully.
Present.
Present. Mr. Terry Smith.
Present.
Present. Mr. Chairman, we have quorum.
Thank you. Chair will now entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Enforcement.
Mr. Travis Adams. Can you stand to the podium for me, sir? Case number 1195, Travis Adams. During a site inspection, enforcement officer Fred Fontenot observed an ACA residential search truck at the location of 9739 Louisiana Highway 1 South in Alexandria. Investigating further, Fontenot observed one person identified as DeMarcus Hall holding a sewer pipe for Jacob DeVille, who was installing it through the roof. Mr. Fontenot asked both men of their towing license and was informed that Mr. Hall did not have his card on him and that he was an apprentice. Mr. DeVille presented his card and he's a registered apprentice. Fontenot contacted SPBLA to check the status of Mr. Hall's license and was informed that he did not hold a current apprentice registration card. It expired on December 31st, 2022. Fontenot asked if anyone else was there, and he was informed that there was not, and then were sent out to do the job at the location because no one showed up to work that day. Mr. Travis Adams, master plumber for ACA Residential, was cited for the use of unlicensed personnel. Mr. Adams was sent a violation letter on January the 17th, 2024, informing him of the violation, and the total of $1,000 was due by February 17th, 2024. He responded with an email request to appeal the violation. Mr. Adams was issued a letter to appear before the board. Mr. Adams is present, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Adams, thank you for coming today. You want to tell us a little bit about your situation?
Yes, sir. So, it's stated there that Mr. DeVille was installing sewer pipe, and that's not the case. It's not what happened. Mr. DeVille was solely sent to that location to make a roof penetration because he's competent enough to do that for us. However, Mr. DeMarcus was installing a sewer vent, to get through the roof. I did have my journeyman plumber did call in sick that day, and I was kind of behind the 8 ball to get a penetration through the roof and get that done so we could move on to the project. So I did make the call to send an apprentice plumber to put the vent through the roof. However, Jacob DeVille was just making a whole penetration for me. So I would ask that be taken into account for my 2 counts and Mr. DeVille's as well. That he wasn't observed doing any plumbing work or anything like that. The only person that was observed was Mr. DeMarcus.
Is Mr. DeVille a full-time employee of yours?
He is, yes, sir.
What are his normal duties?
His normal duties is an apprentice plumber. Is what he does.
In light of the fact that we have 2 counts and the job would have been legal with 1 journeyman plumber on that job, I would make a motion that we reduce it to 1 count of use of unlicensed personnel for a fine of $500.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Case number 19196, Jacob DeVille. Can you step to the podium, Mr. DeVille?
Jerry, thank you for being here today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
So, like Mr. Adams was saying, only thing I was sent to the job site to do is cut a hole in the roof. That way, Mr. Marcus can run the bench with Mr. Fred never observed me doing any work. So,
I make a motion, we waive Mr. DeVille's fine.
Second.
I would like to, if I could, offer an amendment or substitute motion that we waive the fine, providing he registers as an apprentice within 30 days.
I am registered.
You are currently.
Oh, you did currently register? Never mind. Disregard.
Thanks for rudely interrupting me.
So we have motion stands that we are waiving the fine?
We have a motion on the floor to waive the fine. Do we have a second?
Yeah, Kevin, second.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Marcus Hall, can you stand at the podium, please, sir? Case number 11197.
Mr. Marcus, I guess you are the one that has a apprentice that wasn't renewed.
Yes, sir.
Whose responsibility is that?
I was kind of mine, but at the same time, during that year, I planned on getting out. I started my own business and everything. And then it kind of went downhill. Then I went to work with my dad. That wasn't paying the bill, so later on that year, I think in September, something like that, I went home and signed up with ACA.
Okay. And you currently, are you registered now?
I don't know.
Or you are currently registered?
Yes, sir.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So you were just following direction of your
Yes, sir.
Travis, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, we waive his fine.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Wait.
Gentlemen, please stand so well. Meeting if you would like to ask anyone welcome to issue if you're welcome to stay if you need to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your trip back.
Yes, sir.
Thomas Murray, are you present today? Legal counsel?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Murray, please stand at the podium.
Good morning.
Yes.
Hey, John Andrushak for M&M Plumbing. I think it's actually listed maybe as Thomas Murray, he's master plumber. Okay.
Case number 11193, during a site inspection at 4409 Trenton Street, Metairie, Louisiana, enforcement officer made the site observe a worker installing plumbing pipes under a bathroom tub on the first floor and another worker on the fourth floor installing plumbing pipes in the wall. Dykes asked both men, for the plumbing license, and they both responded that they do not understand English. Investigating further, Dykes observed a service vehicle for M&M Plumbing Company Incorporated and called the number listed on the vehicle. Dykes spoke with the office staff and was later met with Andrew Guerin, who stated that he was on site to test the recently installed water piping and no one else should be on the site doing plumbing. Mr. Guerin did not know the men performing the plumbing work. He also stated that Dykes should contact the office for any further questions. Dykes then contacted Mr. Thomas Murray, the master plumber for M&M Plumbing Company Incorporated, and asked about the men working in the location. Mr. Murray stated that the men are employed by the company but should not be performing any plumbing work. Mr. Thomas Murray was cited for the use of unlicensed personnel. Mr. Murray was sent a violation letter on January the 9th, 2024, informing him of the violation and the total of $1,000 was due by February the 9th, 2024. Mr. Murray's legal counsel responded with an email requesting to appeal the violation. Mr. Murray was issued a letter to appeal to the board.
Good morning. Yeah, and I also sent a letter to the plumbing board that I'd like to offer into the record.
It is.
Okay, it is already in the
Yes,
record?
sir.
Okay. I think the position here is simple. Mr. Murray can obviously testify as to what was said in this conversation that's documented in the report. I don't even, is the inspector here? I know, okay. At all times, these two individuals that are pictured and there's some pictures attached to the actual inspection report. They were being supervised by a journeyman plumber. That's really the only issue I think here. And so if you need testimony to that effect, we can certainly have the journeyman plumber that was present testify. Mr. Murray's here as well to answer any questions. We don't believe there's a violation. There was supervision of these two individuals. They're considered apprentices under the new law. And so we believe that there's no valid charges here.
Were these apprentices registered with the board?
No.
No.
And there's the issue.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay. And I'm not sure where that requirement comes from.
It's in
This,
in the statute.
I mean, these are the indentured employees absolutely have to be registered. But there's no requirement that an unindentured apprentice under the law has to be registered.
Also registered with the board.
Yes, it is required by regulation. Those regulations actually just appeared in the final rules.
Is that a law or is that a regulation change?
It is a law. So Chapter 3, Title 46 specifies that no natural person shall engage in doing the work of an apprentice unless he possesses a registration or renewal therefore issued by the board. So I think that's ultimately, we received your letter, Mr. Andershock, but ultimately that's what the issue is that they're not registered as either indentured or unindentured.
I'm sorry, I should.
Let me address one thing here. The enforcement officer says he talked to me. That's not true. Never talked to me at all. Talked to my son, the other Mr. Murray. So, and for me to tell you that, my guy's on the job, to me, that's all that's required is for him to be on the job. He's a journeyman plumber on site. He couldn't find the guy. He called the office. All he had to do was ask us to call the journeyman plumber. He would have been glad to walk wherever the enforcement officer was. But he didn't choose to do that. Seems to me he just wants to write a ticket. But nevertheless, you guys are gonna do what you want to do anyway. We already know that. We know how this goes. I've been doing this since 1968, so it's been done a long time. But I want to address one thing here. To threaten me with imprisonment? Wow. It's in the letter right here. I sent this to a senator. He said, "What the hell you saying?" So,
Mr. Chairman, I do have questions. Whatever you. Or do you need to, okay. Is the journeyman here for the
Yes, sir,
company?
yes.
Mr. Gear, okay, Mr. Gear, were you on site at the time and you met with the inspector on the, yeah, please.
Why don't you come up to the mic?
Yeah, can you tell us your version of what happened? Go ahead.
I was on site. He was down by the truck. I come and met him down there and talked with him.
Okay.
What's your name for the record?
Andrew Guerin.
And there were only two guys working with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I also had a question for Mr. Dykes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dykes here?
Yes, sir.
So I read through your report and documentation, and there were some dates, and there were a couple of dates, and I don't know if there was a typographical error or not. How many times was the job site inspected?
The total job site inspected, I believe I did 3 times. One was over the summer.
Okay.
And I did one approximately a week before the second inspection that I did. I wrote the citation.
So that it was compliant on the first?
No, sir. The first time I did, they were doing the underground.
Okay.
And I drove by the location, I didn't see, the original complaint was unlicensed plumbers putting in the underground. It was over the summer.
Who made the complaint?
That I don't actually recall.
We know who made the complaint.
The second complaint came in through a inspector.
Okay.
And he told me that he believed that the size of the job and the amount of employees that he saw on there didn't match up. So I went in and conducted an inspection. I met with the general contractor. The general contractor called, I have the name, this gentleman right here. He came down and met me, walked the job. Everything seemed to be in compliance, although there was only one journeyman on the job, and to explain the size of the job, it's a 5-story building, multiple apartments. And at that time, the journeyman told me he was the only one on the job putting in the work. Well, I mean, that's fine. I went back a week later. When I went in, as soon as I walked into the entrance, and of course it's a construction site, so hard hat, green dust, the whole 9 yards. I go in, there's a gentleman, looks like he's putting in a P-trap underneath the tub. I continue walking the job site on the fourth floor. I saw another Hispanic gentleman putting in some piping in the wall. When I spoke to both of them, neither one of them told me they understood what I was saying. When I walked off the job, I observed the company truck called it, and I met with Mr. again, I'm sorry for the name. He told me why he was there. It was him and another person. They were testing, they were putting I believe it was a hydrostatic water test on the building. And they were the only two that should be doing anything. The person that was with them, I explained to them, you know, although they weren't actually, they were just testing, so I didn't see that as doing the plumbing. Anytime they're doing that, they need to have registered and all this other kind of stuff. But I asked him about the two guys I saw doing the work. He said he didn't know who they were. So when I called the office, I spoke with Mr. Murray. Apparently I spoke with the wrong one. I apologize for that. And he told me he was not aware of anyone that was on the job that was not this gentleman here. So we talked for a few minutes, and he later called me back and said, yes, those guys were my guys. So I said, okay. And that's when I wrote him for the two unlicensed.
So you saw a total of 3 or 4 people on the job?
I personally witnessed 2 people installing plumbing work, and when I was out by the truck, this gentleman here and another guy came out and he said it was just testing for pressure, water pressure.
So technically, he wasn't in non-compliance because there was a journeyman plumber there.
Journeyman plumber, there are 2
On
guys
site.
installing pipe.
On site. So you don't have too many people doing the work for what you have.
They were signed. Okay, thank you for your
Yes, sir.
service, Mr. Dykes. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So let's back up a minute. The problem that we see is we think we're being harassed. And the reason we say that is because the union in the pipe trades has been out here with Mr. Garon trying to get him to join the union. And he finally told him that he wasn't interested in joining the union. And after he told him, I got my 2 minutes, whatever. After he told him that, now your man starts showing up on the job 3 times in a row, trying to catch us doing something we shouldn't do. And so far, it's what he's just said. He hasn't been able to do that yet.
All right, you're done.
Okay, good deal.
All right. Now, Chair will entertain a motion from the board.
I make a motion because the citation, and I read through this the other night, the citation is for use of unlicensed personnel who had a journeyman on the job, which our enforcement officer saw. So I would offer a motion to waive the fine, provided that the 2 apprentices register with the board within 30 days.
I'll second that. I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Case number 10793, 10796, Mr. Daniel Lambert Jr. Mr. Lambert, you step to the podium. Mr. Lambert was cited for use of unlicensed personnel on several occasions from October 2021 to January 2022. On January 24th, 2023, Mr. Lambert was issued a letter to appear before the board for the next meeting. On February 6th, 2023, Mr. Lambert appeared before the board for the hearing calling for suspension, revocation, and probation of licensure. The board heard the cases and moved to the suspension of Mr. Lambert's master plumber, master gas license, and enforced a 1-year suspension for the use of the inactive licenses to work as a journeyman plumber and a natural gas fitter. Per Title 46, Part 55, Chapter 9, Section 901C. If a license is suspended, the licensee may petition the reinstatement of his license only after 1 calendar year has elapsed from the date of the original order. On March the 15th, 2023, Mr. Lambert filed a request to the board to reconsider the motion of the suspension of the licensure. Mr. Lambert was issued a letter to appear today to the board.
Mr. Lambert, thank you for showing today. What do you have to say?
Okay. Thank y'all for me moving this morning. I'm here today to formally request the reinstatement of my master plumber and natural gas license. Due to allowing Due to allowing work to be done under my license was suspended for 1 year. Since then, I have taken steps to address the issue and ensure that circumstances will not arise again in the future. These steps include dissolving my business, meeting with Executive Director Ashley Touye to ensure that I understand the licensing laws in detail. I understand the seriousness of the situation and deeply regret any inconvenience or concerns my actions may have caused. I assure you that I am fully committed to upholding the standards and responsibilities associated with holding state licenses. I am open to any conditions or probationary periods deemed necessary for the reinstatement process. I'd just like to say that, for the last year, it's been kind of rough. I have zero income coming in. My wife had to go to work. She was retired. We're raising 3 small grandkids. And I had to dissolve my shop, sell my camp. And it's been quite a hardship, both financially and health-wise. I lost 60 pounds. I'm being treated for depression. So it's been a pretty rough year. Thank you.
Board have any questions?
It's been a year since it was revoked.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to work?
Well, I broke my hip a couple of months ago at my house, so yeah, I'm physically able to work. I'm just recuperating from a broken femur.
So, can we reinstate his license?
Yes.
We can. I'll make a motion to reinstate.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, ayes have it. All right, I want to express to you the severity of the situation. The egregiousness of the license selling that was happened before can never happen again. If you're ever brought before this board again, that's it. You're done, okay?
I understand.
I wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Lindsay has withdrawn his appeal request, so we can move on to the next. The next case. A letter this morning for their appeal, and I just want to distribute that for the board to be able to look at that. Called Mr. Sam Plajon, if you would like to.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna have to recuse myself,
Yes.
because I'm kind of involved.
Yeah.
There should be a couple of pieces of paper in there also showing that the person that was on site.
While the board reviews it, I'll go ahead and just state that that's okay.
Case number 11209, Samuel Plajon. On December the 19th, 2023, a complaint was issued to the SPBLA office from Mr. Collins against Sean Carney, owner of Veterans Plumbing Repairs. The complaint was for the work that had been completed by Mr. Carney at the location of 5175 Fairfield Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Enforcement Officer William Easterly was tasked for investigating the complaint. While investigating the complaint, Easterly contacted Carney. Mr. Carney stated that he called Attaboy Plumbing and asked the owner, Mr. Sam Plajon, for assistance with pulling a permit and conducting a gas pressure test at the above location. Easterly called the East Baton Rouge Permits Office to confirm that the permit number 155986 was issued on December the 6th, 2023 to Attaboy Plumbing for the mentioned address. Easterly then contacted Sam Plajon, and Mr. Plajon stated that he did receive a permit for the address, and that Mr. Plajon stated that he made a trip to the location and Mr. Carney did not show, so he left. Easterly contacted Mr. Carney again, and Mr. Carney stated that he performed the pressure test because Mr. Plajon was not able to come to the property. Mr. Plajon decided for the use of unlicensed personnel. Mr. Plajon was issued a letter on February 15th, 2024, informing him of the violation, and the total of $500 is due.
Pleasant was issued a letter requesting to appear before the board.
If you go through the paperwork, this states that he's an unlicensed plumber. That's his license, also with his gas fitter's license. So the whole statement is incorrect. He is a licensed plumber, and he's also a licensed gas fitter, a German gas fitter.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Is he an employee of yours?
He's not an employee of mine. I refer jobs that are not due for like, that you would not have to have a permit for, to several different companies throughout this area. I'm only able to do as much as I can. I'm a one-person operation now, and
Okay, you're a master.
I'm a master plumber.
Are you aware that a journeyman operating a business is not allowed to go pull a permit?
Correct.
Or do that type of gas work?
The gas work that he did was, he was supposed to be supervised by me, but wasn't there at the time that I showed up for the gas test.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Plaisance, I just kind of want to go over a few things because I think I understand where you're coming from. The issue is that Mr. Carney, while he does have a natural gas license, he is not a master natural gas fitter, and he is aware that he cannot do natural gas work, which is why that license number is removed from the vehicle. So essentially, in the statute, and this is where the issue lies, I can understand you thought you were doing the right thing. He has a natural gas license. However, there is a statute that specifically says that it's section 301M, that no natural person shall engage in doing the work of gas fitting unless he possesses a license, and he can only engage in gas fitting only when he is under the supervision of a master natural gas fitter. So natural gas is completely different than plumbing. There is no repair. And so that's what the issue is. He would either have to connect his natural gas license and be under your employee, the definition of employee. He cannot be subcontracted out essentially to do that work. Hold on one second.
You are aware that you can't use your license for multiple other companies for permits.
Correct. And this was a situation where he called me. From what I understood, the guy was a disabled veteran, and it was an emergency situation because we had the cold weather coming in, and from what I understood about the whole situation was that the man lived in this home, and we were looking at temperatures that were going to be dropping into the freezing temperatures, and that's the only reason I pulled it, is because I thought this man lived in this home and needed heat, and that was my mistake on that. First time I've ever pulled a permit on something like this, and I've been running my company for over 16 years, and I've never stood in front of any of you guys, ever.
This is the equivalent of prostituting his license. I make a motion to deny the appeal, and if he's cited again for the same violation, that he's required to appear before this board.
I have a motion, you have a second? I'll second.
He did, he seconded it,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Didn't hear. Mr. Lynn?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Case number 11208, Sean Carney. On December the 19th, 2023, a complaint was issued to the SPBLA office from Mr. Michael Collins against Sean Carney, JD 7865, owner of Veterans Plumbing Repairs. Mr. Collins had requested estimates from a few companies to fix a gas leak and make some repairs to his property. Veterans Plumbing submitted an estimate for repairs and was the company chosen for the homeowner to complete the repairs. The complaint was for the work that had been completed by Mr. Carney at the location of 5175 Fairfield Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Enforcement officer William Easterling was tasked to investigate the complaint. While investigating the complaint, Easterling contacted Mr. Carney. Mr. Carney stated that he called Attaboy and asked the owner, Sam Playground, for assistance with pulling a permit and conducting a gas pressure test at the mission location. Easterling then contacted Sam Playground, and he stated that he had, Mr. Carney could not agree on a time and date to meet, and further stated that he made a trip to the location and Mr. Carney did not show. Mr. Playground also stated that he did not assist Mr. Carney with a gas pressure test. Easterly contacted Mr. Carney again. Mr. Carney stated that he performed the pressure test because Mr. Plajon was unable to come to the property. Mr. Carney decided for master natural gas fitter work without a proper license. Mr. Carney was issued a violation letter on 2/15/24, informing him of the violation and the total of $500 is due. By 3/15/2024, Mr. Carney was issued a letter requesting to appear before the board.
So there's a little bit more to the story than that. I feel bad for Sam because originally the gentleman called Sam. Then he said this whole story about the old lady. The man never met us at this location. Okay, he's hoodwinking us from the get-go. My license was always attached underneath Attaboy for the gas fee. This is the first year that I got a license where it said that I'm not active.
Right.
It's always been because he 1099 me just like he did on his job. So this man just got hit with a fine. I was working underneath him, and I have to get 1099 by him. They called him first, then this guy Collins called me, and he never would meet us on the location. When we got there, all we were doing was to put a pressure test on the meter. It was leaking at the nut, at the drip leg. Teflon it up, brought it to the wall, called in for inspection. The inspection failed. I asked Justin, the inspector, to pull us off the permit because the guy's been doing lying nonstop, saying that he's gonna have his brothers come finish the work. And I have it all in text message and everything. But with that said, I have everything on there. Like, and they be telling me that if I don't drop it, if I don't go and do the work, when I looked underneath there after we gave him his money, refunded him everything, we just walked out the job, gave him the money, told the permit guy, the inspector, that we wanted to pull it. Sam got on the phone and said, hey, we want our name off the permit, because the guy was doing illegal stuff. But when we looked underneath there, his heater was sitting on the ground. It was all rusted out, working. He was like, he wanted us to hook all that up. And we said no. So he got mad. I got a text saying that if I don't hook it up, he's gonna ruin mine and Sam's career. He knows someone on the board as well was stated to us, and that he was gonna ruin our career. I mean, I have everything calls, I have bribery where he told us that if we don't drop it, he's gonna ruin our career.
Mr. Chairman, it's okay, first of all.
I'm shaking because I'm
It's
speaking
okay.
from, if I jump out of here.
It's okay. So the issue is, Mr. Carney, and you and I both know this, is that he just specifically stated that you are not an employee of his business.
Yeah, I'm not, like, I worked for him for the 8 years, I'm not like on a regular paycheck.
Right, but you have an invoice attached to Veterans Plumbing that has natural gas work on it,
Right.
okay?
Like I was trying, this was what I couldn't get to Mr. Bill, his name is. I used to do it. I was trying to get this to you on how to work scanner. So I got a lot more records for y'all if you want to see, like the original.
So I think what the issue is that you're sending out estimates when you and I have already spoken about the fact that you cannot do natural gas work.
Right, I stopped, Sam told me,
Okay.
that's why we had it underneath Attaboy estimate.
So why is there an estimate to the gentleman under Veterans Plumbing?
It was a refund estimate. I mean, that's because he wanted it immediately, when we gave his money back.
You can't do that. You can't do that, John. You have to be under the employ of a master natural gas fitter, or you need to take the master natural gas fitter exam, okay?
Isn't it?
Okay.
Actually, does Veterans Plumbing have insurance registered with the board to operate as a repair business?
Yes, he does. He's current.
He does not know. Gas?
No, he has a natural gas fitter's license.
Yeah.
It's under not working,
Last year,
in the
we
trade.
had it.
And you can do that, but you cannot issue estimates under your company. You have to be an employee of Mr. Plaisance if you are going to attach that natural gas
So what I
license.
messed up is when I gave a refund, I shouldn't have put it on my.
You
record.
should be going to work with Plaisance. Go ahead, sorry.
I didn't do it.
Mr. Coleman, the problem is that you're getting 1099 as an independent contractor. So if you're classified as an independent contractor, you have to have a master's gas fitters license to
I apologize, sorry. I didn't do the work though, by the way. And his brothers did, each other, we did right off on it.
Are you planning to get your, you're aware of sunset clausing on the plumbing side, so you
So
split your
you
plan?
not bring it to me or no? I had it wrote down, I got all it scheduled, I'm coming up with my massive. I'm sorry for being nervous, y'all.
No,
You
you're
jump out of airplanes and just stand in front of you.
Make a motion to deny your bid.
I have a motion to deny. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. Case number 11207, Mr. Austin Love, any present today, sir? On December 19, 2023, a complaint was issued to the SPBLA office for Mr. Michael Collins against Sean Carney, owner of Veterans Plumbing Repairs, to complain. The complaint was for the work that Mr. Carney had at the location of 5175 Fairfields Avenue, Baton Rouge. Enforcement Williams Easterling was tasked with the investigation. While investigating the complaint, Easterling was informed that Austin Love, JP 8971, owner of Love's Plumbing Repair LLC, has also completed gas work at the mentioned location. Easterling contacted Mr. Love, and Mr. Love stated that he had made some repairs to the gas line. He further stated that he tied to the gas line with from the stove and ran pipes and fittings to connect to the water heater and wall furnace. Mr. Love also stated that he was not aware he needed another license to make natural gas repairs, as he was a licensed plumber repair company making repairs. Mr. Love was cited for master gas fitter work without a license. Mr. Love was issued a violation letter on 2/15/2024, informing him of the violation, and a total of $500 is due by 3/15/2024. Mr. Love was issued a letter letter requesting to appear before the board. We had no communication with Mr. Love past that letter. I'm not sure if he's actually even received it.
Is this the first time that he's been asked to come before the board? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that when we send a notification out for them to appear, is it registered? Do we send certified a letter?
No.
So we have no recollection
Right,
of
correct.
how you received
I'm not
that.
confirmed with that.
I would say we notify him again for next board meeting, and if he fails to respond to the letter, then we take action.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
I do have one question. Does he have insurance registered with the board?
Yes, he's current.
Yeah. Just a couple of questions about enforcement. I don't know if this is the right time, or you want to do it later in the meeting, but I just had a couple of questions that surfaced.
Sure.
Okay. I know that any apprentice has to be registered. Are we given any kind of grace period when a person hires an apprentice? Are we giving them any grace period before they have them registered?
I mean, there's no grace period in the regulation. They have the option to register as unindentured immediately. I assume that was what companies were doing, having them register as unindentured, and if they decided to put them in the program, then they would register them as indentured.
I think most of us will experience, you hire them, some of them will last a week, some will
Sure.
last 2 weeks. So I think, obviously, it's not what our rules say, but I think we should give them maybe even 30 days. If we have an enforcement officer out there and gets a young man that's not registered, that we need to cite him right away. Number two, on that point, I view that as the business owner's responsibility. So if a company hires a young man as an apprentice and they don't take the steps to get him registered, now granted, it's ultimately his responsibility, but how many of these young people don't even have an idea that they gotta be registered? So I think it really falls more on the business owner than it does on the individual. And when I see, we had some citations of $500 for a apprentice help or whatever, I think we need to take that into consideration. I don't say we change rules, but
I think that we can certainly look at that from an enforcement standpoint, as far, instead of trying to go back and change rules. But I will tell you, Mr. Carl, that they can come in here the same day and register as unindentured and have their license in their hand. So that's not an issue. But I think that we can certainly, since this is on the record, address that when hopefully you guys move on the enforcement committee, and maybe that's something we can address that way.
I mean,
Would
I
that
have
be-
no problem with citing, because technically they are working an unlicensed person.
Right.
But to step it down to a helper that's worked there 3 weeks, that doesn't even know the state plumbing board exists, that's on the owner, it's not on that young man or young lady. So,
I think that's an enforcement issue. I mean, I think, you know, we can give guidance to our enforcement officers as to how we wish for them to enforce the regulatory language. And I think that that's something that perhaps when we create that enforcement committee will be something we look at. Because I hear your point, it's well taken. It's a harsh introduction to the plumbing trade that somebody a weekend maybe gets, you know, a letter citing them, even though they are in violation of the law.
There's one more question too. We passed over Gary Wednesday. I didn't, unless I missed something. Did he pay the fine?
I'm sorry, sir, he withdrew.
He withdrew his appeal.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chair.
He's paid the fine?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, can I say something? Because I was about to explode when I had to recuse myself. If you notice, out of all these people, I was the only licensed master gas fitter. Out of all these people, if you go online, you go to Nextdoor app, Google, whatever, all these guys that he found, Michael Collins found, they were repair plumbers. That have that are not allowed to do pull permits or anything else. The people he had that actually fixed the line, this Loves, that didn't show up today, he was another repair plumber. Okay, so our enforcement guys, they need to go on these apps and just call and make appointments with them. And you know, because there's a lot of people slipping through the cracks. And that's real easy to do. You don't have to make any mileage on the trucks or anything else. Make a phone call, make an appointment, because they're coming out there. And look, this Michael Collins, he's not innocent either. He was just but he was never charged or whatever. He had no violation, but he was just guilty too, because his brother-in-law, I think, was doing work over there and things. But yeah, if you notice that all these people he hired were just repair plumbers.
Well, I think, again, that's an enforcement issue that
No,
can
it
be dealt
is.
with by the enforcement
I
committee.
know, but I had to speak because I was about to explode.
Well, I'm going to say you've spoken enough. Thank you very much, Gary. How's that?
Moving on. Chair will now entertain actions on the previous minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Committee reports, sorry, I jumped one. Committee reports. The only one we have is the CPE committee. We met in person on the 15th, 10 o'clock. Ellis, Ashley, and Keith New were on hand. Some of the business items we did, we adopted continuing ed items for 2026 that were given to us by Lynn. We also had an additional committee member recommended by the board. We recommend to the board. We request that Mr. Aubrey Brand be appointed to that committee. So we'll take that on our business.
Make a motion to accept the committee's report with the new committee member recommendation.
Second.
Motion has a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. That's it. Now, the chair will entertain a action item on previous minutes.
Make a motion we approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All those opposed say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. We have public comment. Being none, ayes have it. Motion over. Financial reports.
Mr. Chairman, before we get into the summary, I think we have an error where it says second quarter, October, November, December 2024. Should that be January, February, and March?
No, they wouldn't give me.
All right, so
the
then-
price. Yeah.
Okay, so-
When I requested their cash check summary account, and the latest they could pull was December 31st. These are the next available one would be March 31st.
Okay, I knew there was a reason behind it, but I wasn't quite sure, so I just wanted to make sure on record that the summary reflected the correct months. All right, so current assets, Whitney Bank checking account as of January 31st, 2024, $950,026.81. Whitney Bank savings account as of January 31st, 2024, $950,556.55. Petty cash, $155. Deposits in transit, zero balance. CD due 6/24/2024 at 5.6%, $250,000. CD due 9/27/2024 at 3.8%, $100,000. CD due 9/26/2025 at 4.1%, $69,000. Flex insured account money market funds, $3,372.83. Money made year to date, $8,087.99. Total assets, $2,323,110.57. That completes my summary, Mr. Chairman.
Make a motion, we approve. Second.
We'll open the floor for public comment first.
Sorry.
Is there any public comment? All right, now I'll entertain an option.
Make a motion, we approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Been approved. Advisory committee, please. Bill Moran.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hope y'all ready, because we got all kinds of stuff for y'all to do. We reviewed some potential bylaws for the advisory committee, and we had an adjournment. Have a good day.
I like it.
Y'all get worried for a minute there.
On the enforcement report, please.
Stephen Campbell, Region A.
As for the reporting period, I had 415 miles, 80 hours, and 74 inspections, and 0 citations.
William Easter, Region A.
See, I had 889 miles, 80 hours, 144 inspections, 5 citations.
Nicholas Dykes, Region B.
I had 1,068 miles, 80 hours, 54 inspections, and 10 violations.
Mr. Pat Olivier, Region C. He has 1,433 miles, 80 hours, 79 inspections, with 0 citations. Mr. Blaine Grimion, Region B.
I had 1,573 miles, 80 hours, 54 inspections, and 7 citations.
Mr. Fred Fontenot, Region E.
I had 1,782 miles, I had 80 hours, I had 59 inspections, 9 citations.
Mr. James York, Region F.
For the reporting period, I had 2,000 miles, 80 hours, 95 inspections, and 9 citations.
Mr. Blaine Mott, Region I, has 1,463 miles, 80 hours, 77 inspections, and 3 citations.
Thank you. Executive Director's report. Ashley?
Oh, yes, sorry. A few things, I covered most items at our last board meeting, but the State Plumbing Board is currently preparing for a property audit. I expect that to be completed in March. your property audit is going to consist of anything that's tagged in this office over $1,000. So, once we receive that back, we will submit it to the board for their review. Just a couple reminders, all licensees wishing to renew their license after March 1st will need to do so by mail, and all late fees will apply. As you'll recall, the board moved to waive those late fees until March 1st. I know about the online payments, and we are working on that. We're actually looking at some different providers to try and make that a little bit more feasible. We're also currently working with our database provider. If the board will recall, last year we discussed a second phase of the database, and hopefully what that second phase will include is online applications as well as some further enforcement support. So hopefully we'll put together some type of proposal to present to the board for that. Also, as a reminder, we have dual examinations that will start this year. We have dual exams in Baton Rouge and Shreveport, and so once we complete those, we'll come back before the board for a full review of that. We did hold the mandatory examiner training on January 20th, which consisted of a review of current policies and grading rubrics, and then it also consisted of further education on the written exams. Please do not forget that we have different versions of all of the written exams now. So for all of you who are examiners and custodians in here, that's something that we need to make sure that they are notating on their exam which version they're taking. Lastly, as you all are aware, the 2024 regular legislative session will begin on Monday, March 11th, and we are going to monitor that and keep everyone updated. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ashley. Any questions from Ms. Ashley on her report? Move on. Old business, please review the examinations. Were there any issues? Report from board. Very good. Is there any, all right, new business. CP committee member recommendations of Mr. Aubrey Brand. We've already acted on that. B, CP topics for 26 and 27.
Yes, Trey made the motion to not only accept the report, but to add Mr. Aubrey.
Oh, okay, I didn't understand that, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead. I would like to go ahead and make a motion, entertain a motion to accept those items for 26 and 27 from the CP committee.
Make a motion to accept.
We have a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a second. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right. I would like to recommend to the board that we install an enforcement committee member. I would like Trey, if you could, chair that committee. I would also like to be a part of that if I could. And the chair will now entertain recommendations for committee members for that position.
I would nominate Doral to be on the committee, being his inspector background, his enforcement background.
So as it sits, Trey will be chairman of that committee. Doral.
Do you want the ED to be as part of that committee?
Ma'am?
Just tossing out there, would we like the executive director to be on that committee? Perhaps some member might consider making that recommendation.
Make a motion to add Executive Director Ashley Touye to the committee, as well as Aubrey Brand to the committee.
Second.
All right. So Chair now has a motion to accept committee members as proposed. We have a first, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Wait, you have to have public comment. This is an action item.
I'm sorry. Public comment gets me, boy. Do we have any public comment? Any public comment? That being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. All right. Next board meeting date, there's no action on this item, will be May 16th, 2024. Yes, sir.
Can I ask that we move the board meeting to the 30th of May? Would that be a problem with board members? 'Cause I have a conflict on 16th.
Is that not Memorial, when's Memorial Day? That's Memorial Day week. Yeah, I'll be out of town.
I have a conflict on the 16th as well.
We have two members of conference on the 16th.
What about the 23rd?
I have a conflict.
What about you?
Well, the 23rd.
On the 23rd.
Looking at.
About the 9th?
What about the 9th if we moved it up one week?
I'm good on
Definitely
that.
out on the 9th.
You're out on-
I'm on at the 9th.
I just have to adjust the meeting. I don't want to change it. There's too many conflicts.
So it's the 16th or 23rd?
We're not gonna move the date, we're gonna stay at 16th.
16th, okay.
Who was out on the 23rd? Carl, was it just you?
No, I'm out.
Oh, you're out on the
I'm out.
23rd too? I got you.
Okay. All right, determined as an order. We have a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Have a
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
It's crazy, every Thursday, board members got a conflict.